everybody, my name is Ben Goto. I'm one of the engineers that's been working on N1, and it's the product that we're kind of launching with you guys tonight. And so before we open into the open bar and all of these awesome space-themed games and stuff, I wanted to take a minute and show you the product that we've been working on and talk a little bit about the motivation behind it. So N1 is the next generation email platform. And so what does that mean? Before we sort of dive into this, I want to take a minute and talk about why we would build a mail client. So a lot of people look at the effort that we put in the last 10 months and they're like, why did you guys do this exactly? So the reason is really simple. Email is very valuable. It's this huge amount of data about your life and your Lyft receipts and your package notifications and your recent flights and everything. It's a hugely valuable data source. But email is really, really difficult to work with. Building new experiences on top of email is really hard. So if I wanted to, write a mail app or prototype something completely new and different, I have to connect to Gmail and I have to connect to IMAP and Exchange and all of these old services that are a huge pain to deal with. So we spent a long time working on the sync engine that abstracts away the challenges of dealing with IMAP and Exchange and the difference between like Exchange Server 2003 and Exchange Server 2007, so that you can build an app or a website or a CRM that like ties into email and you don't have to worry about it. But that was sort of only one part of the story. But if I want to build something new and prototype on top of email and try making a whole new experience, it's really hard. I can technically, people build entire companies around Gmail extensions these days where they have a team of 20 people working for 2 years adding like a sidebar to the Gmail interface. So you can totally prototype new email experiences, but it takes a huge amount of effort. And so with N1, we're totally changing that. So building new experiences on top of email isn't hard. So this is a quick look at N1. It's a solution to that problem. The thing that N1 does differently is it provides you this amazing foundation for prototyping new email experiences. So this is a cross-platform desktop app that is a replacement for something like Outlook or the Gmail web interface. But unlike those solutions, it's designed from the core to be extensible. And so this is all modern web technologies. It's built on top of Electron, which combines like Node.js and JavaScript and HTML, and all these technologies that tons of people already know. And it makes it possible for you to add a new sidebar or experiment with like this translation feature that you always wished you had in your mail client. And I'm personally really excited about this because we don't really know what the future of email looks like. If you wanted me to build like the perfect email client for 2016, like I don't really know what features we would put in there. But the way to find out is to lower the barrier to experimentation, and that's what this does. Just to give you a couple of examples, last week one of our engineers built this extension to the sidebar that when you're emailing with somebody, it'll show you their public GitHub profiles and like the number of stars that they have and stuff like that. So you can see like this guy's actually pretty legit. And so like it's kind of neat to be able to see that. And this is probably only like 30 or 40 lines of code. This is actually one of my coworkers, yeah. Inside joke. Another good example is like this translation plugin where I can be composing an email and we built this with the Yandex translation API and it's like 30 or 40 lines of code, I think. But it has this little drop down over here where you can like select a different language and choose it. And it makes one API request and like turns your whole draft into Spanish. And so this is another really cool example of something that would have been really, really difficult to prototype in something like Gmail. Or an Outlook or something like that. But we can do it really easily with a platform that's built for this sort of extensibility. And so these aren't just like individual isolated examples. We pretty much structured this whole mail client to be extended like this. And so what I wanted to do for like the next like 5 or 10 minutes is actually just give you guys a live demo. And then we can get back to drinks and board games and festivities. So thanks so much, guys. Let's do a little live demo. I'm going to have to jump over there, I think. So let's do it. Yeah, demo. Hopefully this is a good live demo. So this is what the mail client actually looks like. And everyone on our team has been using this internally as their primary mail client for probably like 6 months now. And we just launched it earlier this week. But you can see here it offers like a lot of the features that you would expect from something like Outlook or Mail.app on the Mac. So I can come through here and see like, oh, here's an email I got from our team or something from Michael. It's really integrated with Gmail, so if you're someone that uses labels, you can see here if I make this just a little bit wider, we'll get kind of the traditional list view from Gmail, and I can like select multiple messages and add labels and stuff like that. And so it's really designed to be a desktop mail client that could replace something that you're used to using already. But what I mentioned earlier that makes N1 really cool is all of this extensibility. So let's take a quick look at that. So I mentioned earlier that you can extend this in all kinds of interesting ways. So let's actually come in here and I'm going to write a reply to this email. Say like, hey there. So we showed earlier that little translation plugin, and I'm actually going to load that up right now. So you can see here we've got some pre-made samples that you can load into the mail client and play with. If I load in this translation plugin, it takes a second. We actually will show you where it's located in the Finder, tell you that it's been installed. But then you can see this translation button pops up right there all by itself. And if I choose another language, we can translate this to Russian, and there we go. And so this is something that like wasn't there a second ago, completely separate code base that a different developer could have written that we can load in to sort of experiment with changes to the interface. And this is something that we've enabled throughout the whole application. We can actually turn on a feature here and see all of the different places in the app where stuff can be extended. So everything that's shown with little red boxes over it is a place where I can go in and write my own code and change the experience. It's also worth mentioning that we've built a lot of the features that you'd come to expect, like a list view if you prefer viewing your email, Gmail style, and like diving in like this. And we've also put a lot of effort into different sets of keyboard shortcuts and multiple account support, notifications, and even like a dark theme for people that are really into like hacker mode on everything. And so the idea is that N1 is this foundation which provides a lot of the stuff that every mail client needs, so that if you want to experiment, you don't have to go and write like 2 million different features over the course of 2 years just so that you can play with that one thing you really want to. N1 can sort of be the foundation for all of that. So that's all I got. Thanks so much for coming tonight, guys. Enjoy the bar and help us celebrate.